Hello and howdy ho everyone, Foxy Games here and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Full Story Playthrough. In the previous episode, we got a little bit sidetracked and we went and destroyed two of the Empire's new weapons. We are going to put that on the back burner for the moment though and continue with the main story quest until such a time as the weapons become more relevant timeline-wise, so that means we have to speak with our dear friend Cryle to get back to the first. I take it you're ready to return to the first? Then I would ask that you apprise the others of recent events here in the source, namely Xenos' return and the development of a new Ultima weapon. As for their bodies, you may assure them Master Matoya and I will continue doing what we can to keep their corporeal ether stable. Safe travels, Foxy. I hope to see you and the other Scions soon. Safe trip home, you adorable little potato. Now let's get back to the Crystarium. Feels like forever. Hello, Graha. You've come at a most opportune time, my friend. I've made something of a breakthrough in my research on the soul and a means to return the Scions home. I trust you too have been making good use of your time, to say the least. Ill tidings from the source, you say? Then I will summon the others that we might all be apprised of the situation.
Now that we are all here, what news from the source?
A new Ultima weapon? We must count ourselves lucky that Gaius has pledged his assistance.
While this is indeed a worrying development, I think the state of the Empire as a whole greater grounds for concern. With the Emperor slain and Xenos returned, it is impossible to predict how matters will unfold in Garlemald. The Ultima weapon may be but the first of many unpleasant surprises.
The situation beareth closer observation, of that there is no doubt, and doth compound our need to return unto the source.
Then let us address that issue. Our long search for a means to see you safely home may well be nearing its conclusion. Thanks in large part to Urianger and Beklug's invaluable insight, we have succeeded in fashioning a vessel for the journey.
We set out to create a crystalline container retaining the more useful properties of white morosite, but without its regrettable limitations. And, after a good deal of trial and error, we made one. An ark for soul and mind both that will allow your incorporeal self in its entirety to be ferried between worlds. A spirit vessel, if you will.
However?
Though the vessel is possessed of the requisite qualities to hold mind and memory, it wanteth yet for a means to receive of them. For that, we must needs imbue it with the Exarch's innate gift.
A gift that lives on only through the blood of the Allagan Emperors, which certainly does not flow within Orosite or any other crystal.
Just so, milady. The blood serveth as a conduit of sorts. In its absence, memory cannot pass from mind unto mind, nor from flesh unto crystal.
That being the case, we must either alter the process of inheritance so as to require no such thing, or determine a means by which my blood may permeate the vessel. I am hopeful that the records found within this tower will yield the knowledge we require to pursue one or the other of these avenues.
As well you should be. The Allagan's body of etherological research is extraordinary. I can scarce believe it the work of ages past. But its underlying principles are not so very different from those of my own field of study. Given time, we will find the answers we seek.
I know that you can ill afford to wait, and it pains me that I must ask you to do so. I can only reaffirm my promise to you that a solution will be found. Whatever it takes, I will see you safely home.
My apologies.
I do hope you haven't come to tell us that mortal peril fast approaches.
No. I had hoped to speak with the Warrior of Darkness. But there is no need to cut short your meeting on my account. I will be waiting outside.
Why not speak in here? She knows I don't mind. Unless she didn't want to.
Perhaps I might accompany you. Though I am woefully ill-qualified to assist in the Exarch's research, I may yet be of some use to Lena.
She did seem a bit apprehensive, didn't she? It may simply be my imagination, but Lena has been rather brusque with me of late. You don't suppose she's still upset over that mishap with the salmon fillet, do you? Mishap with the salmon fillet? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Never have I seen such a repository of knowledge, a stark reminder what little we truly know of the world. Upon White Orosite's crystalline foundation have we built not a prison, but a refuge for the soul. Would that Moonbreeder were here to see the wonders inspired by her research. To think we will not only have Xenos to contend with once we return, but a new Ultima weapon as well. Why must all of our enemies insist on returning from their graves? Hell has no vacancies for these people. Luckily, you have 2 fewer weapons to deal with. I must confess, while I enjoy my fair share of scholarly research, it will be good to step outside for a spot of fresh air. Now then, shall we go and speak with Lena? It's raining. I suggest we hurry. Lena does not strike me as the one who enjoys being made to wait. I mean, she's right here. We have little time, so I'll be brief. A Sin Eater has been sighted in Lakeland, and I ask for your assistance in slaying it. A Sin Eater? I had heard some few yet remained after the knight had returned, but perhaps we should call the others. That will not be necessary. It is only a single Sin Eater. A simple task for our guard, I should think. That said, I believe fighting alongside the Warrior of Darkness would be a valuable experience for them. Peace can lead to complacency, and they gain nothing from an easy victory. But you do not underestimate your foes, however harmless they may seem. My men would do well to learn from your example. Let's be about it, then. Excellent. Let us make for Fort Job. The Sin Eaters that remain no longer have a leader to guide them, but they are no less dangerous. They cannot be suffered to live. If you'd wait here a moment, I'll gather the others. You may not remember, but you have met these soldiers once before, though only in passing. Long have they awaited with the opportunity to fight at your side. I was at death's door the day after the Sin Eaters attacked. If you and yours hadn't come along, I'd have likely stepped through. And I wouldn't have been alone. Your courage and selflessness is something we all aspire to. I too was there that terrible day. My friend was transformed into a Sin Eater before my very eyes, and I had no choice but to cut her down. The thought of returning to the field, of holding a blade again, it filled me with dread. But that was no way to honor her or my comrades, and so I have returned. I swear I will not let you or anyone else down from this day forward. A pleasure to meet you, miss. Truly. It seems like only yesterday I watched as you took flight aside an Amaro and to go and save the Oracle. Strange to think that the Yulmoran soldiers we once locked blades with are now on our side, but we will do our utmost to keep the peace here in Lakeland. We seem to be missing one. My apologies, Captain Lena. An elderly gentleman asked that I escort him to Clearmelt. It took longer than I anticipated. I'll not begrudge your desire to help those in need, but a soldier must be punctual, especially when we play host to honored guests. It won't happen again. The name is Thaler. I'm sure you don't remember, but we met once before in the infirmary. I do remember you. You're the one who asked me to tell the Exarch you wouldn't give up. I asked you to deliver a message to the Exarch and the Warrior of Darkness. Little did I know I was already talking to her. Don't give up. Don't give in. I keep those words close to my heart, and the boundless beautiful skies above serve as a reminder of their importance. My friend got to see the knight's return shortly before he passed. He left this world with a smile, satisfied with a glimpse of what was to come. But there are countless others who weren't so fortunate. They gave their lives for the promise of a future they'll never know, and so it falls to us to do everything we can to fulfill that promise. No matter what happens, we won't give up. We won't give in. Your heroism has inspired all of our guardsmen in much the same manner. Our scouts at the northern staging point have not had the pleasure of meeting you in person. Let us not keep them waiting. Well, hey, we're getting the same kind of recognition here as we did in... Thank God that's far away. As we do in the source. It's a dead Sin Eater. If I hadn't seen him with my own eyes, I'd have sworn it was you who killed that Sin Eater.
Did you slay this eater? Your orders were to await the main force before engaging.
No, Captain. It wasn't us, I swear it. A man came out of nowhere and cut it down before we knew what was happening.
By himself. Certainly it is no light warden, but nevertheless.
It's true. Felled it with a single swing of his axe, he did. I've never seen anything like it. So I says to him, who are you, the warrior of bleeding darkness? And he says, no. I'm a warrior of light. And that was it. Buggered off as quick as he came.
A warrior of light? Why would someone go around calling himself that, though? It was those bastards who caused the flood. I mean, if you were going to pretend to be anyone, it'd be her. The warrior of darkness.
Eh? Oh, I didn't know. It's an honor.
Since the Eater is no longer a threat, our work here is done. Return to your posts.
Not much of a training exercise.
I had hoped to fight at your side today. But I'll continue to follow your example, and may we meet again.
I apologize for the wasted journey. It seems I overestimated the threat. As for this warrior of light, I do not know who would be brazen enough to take that mantle for his own. Whatever it may once have meant, it is forever tainted by the association with the Flood. The Exarch told me the truth of Ardbert and his comrades' deeds, and I am aware they played some part in your own triumph. But to most, they are synonymous with the calamity that befell this world. Still, if this man is minded to destroy Sin Eaters, I may forgive him his unfortunate choice of alias. But that is neither here nor there. I thank you for accompanying me.
With that concluded, shall we return to the Crystarium? There is a proposal I should like to make.
Forgive me. There is one more thing. A personal concern of mine. I had hoped you might have a moment to speak privately.
Take your time. I shall go on ahead.
Oh, if only Foxy knew. If only Foxy knew. We, the player, know something's not right. Foxy doesn't know it yet.
I will not mince words. This matter concerns the Exarch. Though his countenance belies his age, his demeanor never has. He has seen more than any man should and grown ever more weary with time. But I see I give the wrong impression. While it is true he attempted to open a letter with a salmon fillet the other evening, we are not here because I suspect his mind is deteriorating.
Crap, what is wrong with you?
Nor do I believe him to be so maddeningly unconcerned by the prospect of his own death as he once was. Indeed, the opposite is true. It is for this reason that I seek your advice. Since he returned from the Tempest, the Exarch is not as he was. He seems a different man, a younger man. I know not the details of his research, but when I saw him at work recently, there was a glint in his eye that I had never seen before. He looked happy. It was as if he had peered into the future and for the first time found joy there.
Oh, Graha.
Though it gladdens me to see him thus, I wonder if I should not keep my distance. I fear that my presence will only anchor him to the past, remind him of all the pain that came before.
Anchors keep us where we have chosen to be, or he's lost without you, you know, and misses you already. Oh, let's go with that. Because he clearly does.
Are you sure? Then perhaps we might remain as we were. As we have always been.
Graha, when he's not being mysterious, kind of wears his heart on his sleeve.
What a relief. In that case, I will have to speak with him about the amount of time he is spending at work. This research is important, I know, but if he refuses to consider his own health, I will have to consider it for him.
Tried to open a letter with a salmon fillet. What in the world was going through your head, Catboy? I will not keep you. You and your comrades have much to discuss. I will see you, and I will see the others back to their posts. Good talk, Lena. Back to the Crystarium we go. Everybody's back. Well, these guys never left, but Alphinaud's back. An adventurer calling himself a warrior of light. Why would anyone tie themselves to a legacy of individuals held in such low regard in the first? Warriors of light, harbingers of the flood and all the world's woes. That this wanderer would so boldly claim their title is most curious indeed. 'Tis strange to think how heroes so beloved by the people could be brought so low in so short a time. Really, these guys, they were loved before the flood. Alphino tells me a warrior of light has slain the Sin Eater. Quite frankly, I'm not sure what to make of this. Ah yes, I was hoping to speak with you about, On second thought, never mind. It would be rude of me to pry. He wants to know what I talked to Lena about. The others were quite shocked to hear of what we found in Lakeland. But now that you're here, there's a proposal I should like to make. I've been spending a great deal of time in the Cabinet of Curiosity, and of late I have noted more and more people perusing books on history, the years leading up to the Flood in particular. I suspect they wish to know more about the Warriors of Light, as well they should, but nearly everything I come across describes them as Sin Eaters or worse. Regardless of whether or not this Warrior of Light is who they claim to be, I worry that their sudden appearance, in conjunction with this renewed interest in their predecessors, may lead to growing unrest and fear. If the people of the Crystarium seek the truth, I say we give it to them. I too can attest to the falsehoods found within full many of the Cabinet's tomes, with nary a mention of the noble deeds of Ardbert and his comrades. To be fair, they bear some responsibility for the Flood, but when the tale is told again and again over the course of a century, I'm not surprised to see their roles distorted and painted as and then painted as villains. Were it not for the records stored within the Crystal Tower, I would have had no reason to question the narrative. Unfortunately, that knowledge was of no use, for when I arrived here in the first, their reputation had already been irreparably tarnished. That said, there still remained those who worked tirelessly to defend their good name in those early days following the Flood. Considering all the good they had done, I find it a wonder they needed defending at all. They brought to justice the man who misused my knowledge to bring about the fall of Vobert. That such heroes could be spoken of in the same breath as Sin Eaters is absurd. Under normal circumstances, I would agree with you, but as time passed, those who knew firsthand of their deeds dwindled. In the end, only one truth remained, that they were the cause of the Flood. With the world on the brink of oblivion, it was all too easy for the Warriors of Light to become villains deserving only of resentment and hate. At that point, the truth mattered little. It would not change their lot. Thanks to all of you, however, their lot has changed, and now they may heed the long-forgotten truth. You claimed it was Ardbert who helped you overcome Emmett Silk, correct? Such a revelation would do well to sway the hearts of those who know him only as a villain. I have shared this with only a select few, but one and all must be told of this sacrifice. To that end, I say we proceed with Alphino's plan. We call together the people of the Crystarium and recount to them the true tale of the Warriors of Light and the Flood that followed in their wake. Well, what say you, Foxy? Spread the word, I say, or I wish we'd done this sooner. I do. In hindsight, I agree, but better late than never, no? Exarch, might I ask that you continue working with Backlog on our means of returning home? The rest of us will see to gathering the people of the Crystarium in the XIV. We have to reach out to anyone and everyone who might be willing to lend us an ear. With any luck, word will spread and more will accompany them. Time to clear the Warriors of Light's good name. There can be no darkness without light, and so it was that Ardbert was there in your hour of need. The people must be told. I have seen many a great and terrible thing in my long life, as has the Exarch, no doubt. Of man I can say this, his memory is short, his heart fickle. Let us pray that your words reach him. Agreed. That's something the Ascians have said about us too. Alright, so we have a few places that we have to go. Like right over here, and up in the Amaro launch, and really all over the fucking place. Foxy! My, what a wonderful surprise. Though I hope your being here doesn't mean someone's been hurt. Thanks to you, I've had fair fewer patients coming through the door of late. Which is a shame, come to think of it. I've had fewer opportunities to test my new medicines. I jest, of course. It's actually been quite pleasant to have a few moments to myself now and then. The truth about the Warriors of Light, but the Exarch has already spoken with me about them. Well, if there's more to the tale, I'd very much like to hear it. Very good. We have Chesamil on board. Who's next? We'll go down there later. Let's see. The crystalline mean. Catliss, of course we'd have to tell her. Well, well, what a coincidence. I was just reading over a letter I received from Grenault not long ago. He says a visitor from the Crystarium found him at the bottom of the ocean, and that she inspired him to reach new artistic heights. Well, I could only think one person capable of both feats, though I'd say the latter is far more impressive. To think fate could bring the two of you together in such a place. I'm sorry, you mean the Exarch didn't tell us the whole story of the Warriors of Light? Well, whatever he's left unsaid, I'm all ears. Very good, I figured you would listen. Alright, next. The Cabinet of Curiosity. Naturally, we need to get more in over there. No, this can't be. Surely there's at least one book here that does not cast the Warriors of Light and their deeds in such a negative light. Hello, Morin. Oh, Foxy! Forgive me, the Cabinet of Curiosity has been bustling with visitors of late, but I fear our repository lacks for the knowledge they seek. The people wish to know the truth of the flood, of the Warriors of Light. I have searched high and low, but alas, every account portrays them as no better than sin-eaters, abominations worthy only of scorn and resentment. I know they were not always judged so harshly, yet I cannot find proof. And I dare call myself a librarian. You would address the people and tell them the truth of the Warriors of Light, of the Flood? How wonderful! You've regaled me with the tale once before, but I should love to hear it again. Oh, and you may be assured that I will not come alone. Great, bring as many people as you can, buddy. Braggy, of course he's gonna be one. Come to browse the wares in the market, have you? Well, I can guarantee you'll have no trouble finding what you need, whatever it may be. Under Yulmar's new leadership, trade has never been more prosperous. Word is that fellow from Daedalus Stoneworks has taken over as mayor. Did he really? Little wonder business is booming the way it is. I imagine it won't be long before all of Norvrat reaps the benefits, but you've not come to talk about the market. Something on your mind? As a matter of fact, there is. I see. The Exarch did mention they had something to do with your returning to the night to Norvrant. Alright, consider my interest piqued. Very good. One more to find. And I have a feeling I know who it is. This person's name is Club Penguin. What a throwback. You know, I never did play Club Penguin. My sister was big into it, but me, I did not. Hello, Sayela. How are you doing today? Welcome to the Wandering Stairs, love. What? What does that look for? I'm still a tavern wench, aren't I? We all have our parts to play. How fare you of late? Still tending to the bar, cleaning up after drunkards and Glennard. If this is the punishment you had in mind, I struggle to fathom a harsher fate. Oh. In all seriousness, I have been making an effort to use my spare moments to entertain patrons with the stories of the Warriors of Light. In truth, with all the forgotten Oh, the truth, with all the forgotten glories and sordid details. This being a bar, most of the folks lending an ear are a few drinks deep, so there's no telling how much of it they retain, or believe for that matter. But I'll keep at it. Stories have a way of spreading. Tell me about the Shadowkeeper. Why, only the greatest villain of her day. The mysterious architect of countless tragedies all across Norvrant, who finally faced justice at the hands of the Warriors of Light. The betrayer whose defeat set in motion events culminating with the Flood of Light. But you knew that much, didn't you? Before I took that name, I was known by another in the 13th, a shard all but subsumed by darkness. There I met with Ascians who convinced me that the only path to salvation was to embrace the dark and journey unto this world. I had two objectives. One was to raise up heroes brave and true, worthy of champions of the light. Ardbert and the others. I would join them in their journey and shepherd them unto glory. Heroes need enemies to grow stronger, so I sowed the seeds of discord. From Lakeland to Kalusia, from Amarang to Ilmeg, I set in motion events that would forever change the lives of my comrades and countless others. My second objective was contingent on the first. I would confront the adventurers forged by hardship into warriors of light and strike them down at the height of their power, ensuring that the delicate imbalance between the primordial forces would be preserved just so. But in the end, I failed. Tell me about the Warriors of Light. Ardbert, Lamit, Brandon, Renderay, Nielbert. These are the names of the villains responsible for the Flood of Light, which nearly destroyed our world. Lies and slander, of course. They were as much the victims of fate as any of us. They traveled the length and breadth of Norvrand, helping those in need, and for their deeds came to be known as heroes, but sometimes all it takes to destroy your reputation is a bad turn. And yet, despite everything that happened, they refused to give up. They cut a deal with the man in white and made one last desperate gamble. But you know that tale better than me, don't you? Yes, we do. Be well, Sayela. Well, well, to what do I owe the pleasure? Whatever it is, I must ask you to be brief. With the night returned, visitors have been flocking to the Crystarium, and I find myself too busy by half. I don't mind it, though. Seeing the stairs so full of life and excitement, one can almost forget the flood ever happened. The truth about the Warriors of Light? But you already told me all there is to know, didn't you? Well, if there's more to their story, I'd love to hear it. Maybe then I can compete with Sayela in regaling patrons with stories of their heroism. Perhaps I'll even inspire a few aspiring adventurers. Great. Alright. Now that we've finally finished up with that, let's head on back to the Docile Gate, I believe. Yes. And then we'll speak with Alphino. 'Tis good to see the people of the Crystarium are so eager to learn the truth. And with this newfound knowledge of the past, they will at last be able to look to the future with eyes unclouded. Y'shtola. Those I spoke with at the orchard in the rookery were quite keen to hear what we had to say. For as much hope as they have for the future, the scars of the past weigh heavily on them still. No surprise, they've been through the worst. There you are. Between the four of us, I dare say we've swept the Crystarium from top to bottom. Now we need but wait for the other people to gather. Well, they all seem quite excited.
Yes, this looks to be nearly everyone. Let us begin, shall we? Though I am usually the first to hold forth at such events, I think on this occasion that honor should fall to you.
They would be more inclined to take the word of the Warrior of Darkness.
Well, we're all kind of Warriors of Darkness, aren't we?
Indeed. In light of the subject matter, who better than thee to speak these truths?
I guess so. I mean, one of them is basically my headmate at this point. Though he's been quiet since we merged. It's too bad it's not voiced.
Wicked White? The Warriors of Light did all that?
So they never... I mean, they only ever wanted to help. And when everything they'd done turned to ash, they still carried on.
They gave everything to stop the flood. First their lives, then their souls. And they managed it too, in the end. They saved us. And we cursed their names.
This should go a long way towards clearing the air.
Uh-oh.
Impossible.
I take it I'm not imagining this then.
I definitely see something. You don't think it's a ghost, do you?
Alpha, no, you need to get over this.
Nay, yonder standeth no bloodless apparition, but a warrior of light and darkness both. Ardbert.
What in the world?
It's you! The one who slew the Eater!
Your voice does not match your face.
That it should be the warrior of darkness who brought the truth to light. You've saved me a fair bit of time, though I have a few words of my own to say, if I may. People of the Crystarium, I am Ardbert, one of those you know as a warrior of light.
That's impossible. You should be dead.
Aye, that I should. But as the world has been given new life, so too have I. I know not why I, and I alone, have been gifted this chance. But I do know this. Only by the will of the star itself could such a miracle come to pass. The hero who stands before you now, the warrior of darkness, is not of this world. And the day will come when she must return to her home. But this land is our home. And if it is to remain so, now and forevermore, it is we who must protect it. The time to rely on saviors from afar has passed. It is you who must rise. You who must become the new warriors of light.
What? Us? Warriors of Light?
None of us were born heroes, my friend. I was only ever a man with a thirst for adventure. But wherever my journeys took me, I was invariably confronted with the same choice. To lend what aid I could to those in need, or not. And I always chose the former. Any one of you could do the same. All you need is the will to help your fellow man, and the resolve to see it through.
From thine own lips did we learn of Ardbert's fate, and by thy countenance I gather thou art not inclined to recant thy testimony. Yet whosoever this man may be, his words hold truth and resonate with the citizenry besides. For us to voice our doubts here and now would serve but to sow disquiet. 'Twere better we retired under the ocular and there discuss this matter in private.
Go. I will stay here and watch.
Well, I will say this, at least our friends aren't stupid. They didn't believe it for a second, any more than I did.
So, that is a warrior of light of the First. I've not had the pleasure of making his acquaintance, but as you all seem to be in agreement, I gather this is no simple case of mistaken identity.
As far as I was able to discern, that was indeed Ardbert. It has been a long time, but not that long. Could he truly have been resurrected as he claims?
No, absolutely not.
Ardbert did entrust his very soul unto thee. I see no reason to question thy judgment.
Nor I. To my eyes, your ether burns as brightly as the day you slew Emmett Selk. That is proof that he is with you still.
I'm surprised he's not bubbling to the surface, seething with rage at someone having taken his shape.
Yet that which standeth now before the people is far more than a passing imitation. I am reminded of the cardinal virtues, though a sin-eater he is not. Which leaveth but one plausible explanation.
That he is an Ascian.
Given their fondness for posthumous possession, I would have to agree. From what I understand, the Warriors of Light were laid to rest in Yulmore by those whom they had aided in life. At the time, some few still remembered them as heroes. Needless to say, 4 of them were subsequently exhumed to serve as the virtues. And if one knew where to look, Ardbert too would not have been difficult to find.
Assuming then that this is indeed the work of an Ascian, my mind inevitably turns to the last remaining paragon to survive the Sundering.
Elidibus. That Xenos hath reclaimed his own flesh is known. Thus evicted from his borrowed form, and cognizant no doubt of Emmett Selk's failure here in the First, 'tis quite possible the emissary chose Ardbert for his next vessel.
Inhabiting the flesh of the fallen? My, that is unsavory. And they do this often, you say?
Verily, for they possess no corporeal forms of their own. In what one may term their natural state, none save those gifted with the echo can perceive them. Indeed, when Elidibus intruded upon the waking sands, his presence did go unmarked by all save Minfilia and the Warrior of Light. On that occasion, I myself remained ignorant of his coming until after his departure. It was only at a later juncture, when he deigned to appear before me in borrowed flesh, that I was finally able to take the measure of him. In such puppetry do the Ascians engage when they seek to influence the course of history.
And they have gained much by it. Emmett Selk single-handedly built the Garlean Empire in this manner, while La Hebrea came close to conquering Eorzea, having taken possession of Thancred's living body.
Yet it must needs be noted that the Ascians cannot avail themselves of all mortal vessels. For were they able to do so, none would serve as a better pawn than our own redoubtable champion. Mayhap the blessing of light shieldeth Hydaelyn's chosen from Ascian influence. Or mayhap other forces are at work. We cannot say for certain.
Whatever the reason, I hope it holds true. I dare not contemplate what might come to pass otherwise.
Is it not peculiar, then, that Ardbert's mortal remains should be susceptible, given that he was once a warrior of light? Or did the final departure of his soul make it possible, perhaps?
The blessing of light protects the soul, not the body.
Regardless, To hear an Ascian use him to call forth new warriors of light boggles the mind.
Elidibus hath ever been an enigma, his ostensible purpose being to preserve the balance between light and dark. When he made overtures towards me, however, I was afforded a glimpse behind the mask of the self-appointed emissary. I shall not defend mine actions, undertaken in pursuit of a better understanding of our foe as either wise or prudent. Nevertheless, what little I did glean may now prove useful. Elidibus possesseth a subtle mind, practiced in the art of manipulation. That he coaxed this star's most valiant heroes as far as the source with naught save half-truths is no trifling feat. And now I believe he doth employ his skills once more to some as yet unknown end. Though naught is certain, should my suspicions prove true, we shall have need of all our wits if we are to uncover and thereafter thwart his plot.
Agreed. 'Tis plain that simply speaking out against him will not avail us. At best, it would only serve to confuse the people. And I would hesitate to do anything which might tarnish Ardbert's reputation once more, nor yours by association. That being the case, it may be wise to keep a covert eye on this Ardbert's movements, as we attempt to discern his purpose and how best to mitigate his influence.
His performance appears to have concluded. What now? Go back out and follow him?
'Twould appear Master Alphino already hath pursuit in mind, and I suspect one pair of eyes shall better serve our cause than half a dozen. Let the rest of us maintain an inconspicuous distance, for the present at least.
Well, I also don't want to leave Alphino hanging over there. One of us against an Ascian. The Ascian. I don't know. We must not act until Ardbert hath made plain his plans. 'Twould be folly to proclaim him false at this juncture. We were a hair's breadth from defeat when we faced Emmett Selk, and now we must contend with yet another Ascian. We must tread carefully. What a despicable practice, appropriating corpses. Such depravity eclipses any horrors I witnessed in the age of Vobert. They must be stopped. Wholeheartedly agreed. You did well to dispel the falsehoods surrounding the Warriors of Light and their actions prior to the Flood, though I must say the reappearance of Ardbert, or rather one who appropriated his identity, was a rather curious development. He is an impostor, of that there is no doubt, but to the masses he will appear as a hero returned from the grave. After the Warriors of Light were laid to rest in Yulmore, the people prayed fervently for the gods to deliver them from their plight, prayed that these fallen heroes be born again for their sacrifices. What bitter irony. I, for one, would like to know why Ardbert urged the people to become Warriors of Light themselves. Ere we take action, we must needs ascertain his intent. Let us pray that Master Alphino return soon with that most essential knowledge. For now, I think it best to apprise Thancred and Reen of our efforts. When we do confront Ardbert, we shall no doubt have need of their strength. Agreed. I think it prudent we take all measures to prepare for what's to come. Becklug and I will continue our research into how we might improve the spirit vessel, that it may one day carry you home. Then I think it time I return to the Greatwood. Until now, everything we have learned of the Ascians has been handed to us at their leisure. But that was one of Emmett Selk's unique failings. I have no reason to think Elidibus will be as forthcoming. Fortunately, I recently received word from Fano that heretofore unexplored chambers have been discovered deep within the Katana Ravel. Almet believes the relics within tell of a great calamity that befell an ancient civilization, that of the Asians, perhaps. They may lead us to the truths we seek. Would you care for company? We're not gonna leave you Stola alone. I wouldn't dream of going without you. When you are ready, make for Fano. Almet and her sisters will be expecting us. Then let us be about our tasks. Pray give my regard to the Vis. Well, we have a heading. Very good. I will help the Exarch in any way I can, but the key to solving our problem lies with him and the Allagan Eye. Though I would like to join you in untangling the Asians' machinations, I think it best I stay here and devote my energies to finding a way to deliver the Scions back onto the Source. Yeah, well, don't work too hard, or Lena will kill me. And you. Hello. You look as if you haven't seen us in an age. Is the passage of time really all that different for you, Miss Stell? I mean, yes, I don't live forever. Though, I am now 8 times rejoined. I might have a longer lifespan. The Allies of Ranka! My, it feels as if an age has passed since you last graced us with your presence. Welcome, Allies of Ronka. We have accomplished much since last you came. With the Light Warden dead and its minions dispersed, we have at last reclaimed our hunting grounds near Raktika Falls. It was there that we discovered more ruins. Although we ran afoul of no traps while exploring its holes, we determined that the innermost chambers were warded by magic. We were all in agreement. Before any investigation could proceed, you should be summoned. We are grateful that you did. From what you have told me, I strongly suspect that the wisdom my comrades and I seek can be found within. This wisdom could prove invaluable, for we may soon face a foe whose greatest asset is our ignorance. I see. Then it is good that you have come, for Runka was once the home to the greatest of weapons, knowledge and understanding. And it is our duty to ensure you and yours do not want for either. That said, we must proceed with caution. To have reached the inner chambers unmolested suggests a far more formidable deterrent yet lies within. Come now, surely any threats sleeping within the ruins pale in comparison to those we've faced thus far. This is not a game, sister. You should not be so eager to run headlong into danger. Oh, and who was it pining for the return of our allies that we might venture into the ruins, clutching her staff at night, wishing it were... You promised not to tell! And I suggest we be going. Aw, she's adorable. Get back here! Remind me, exactly how old are you and your sisters? On second thought, perhaps it's for the better that I do not know. Pray forgive their overzealous nature. None save we 3 have been privileged to escort you and yours into the ruins and bear witness to its secrets. Their hearts now burn with a curiosity that is not easily satiated. Please, you needn't apologize. As a seeker of knowledge myself, I understand full well their enthusiasm, and if not for your sedulous efforts to protect the ruins, we would not be afforded this opportunity. Speaking of which, I believe I have kept you away from the ruins long enough. Come, let us make for the Katana Ravel. Indeed. Let's get going. Well, there's no closer aetherite, so we'll be flying. Even Emmett Silk was taken aback to find a mural illustrating the final days in these ruins. What other surprises do you suppose lie within? Well, it's gonna be something threatening, considering that glow around Almet. I feel oddly ill-equipped to venture inside, but with you here, I'm sure things will work out. Don't jinx it. Ready when you are. It is most strange for these halls to be left unguarded. Have care when breaking the seal on the chamber door. Surely, danger surely awaits us on the other side. It is recommended that you set aside sufficient time to view these scenes in their entirety. Aha, so it's gonna take some time. Well, that is good. We have about half an hour left on this video.
Come. Our new discoveries are to be found this way.
The people of Ronka are known to have venerated animals, but these features do not match those of any indigenous species. This is no common beast. Though that much is plain from its proportions.
Lifelike, is it not? One could almost imagine it breathed. Why you... Ugh.
This owl, by contrast, seems no different from the others we've seen.
The sealed door lies ahead. As you see, one statue is missing. I expect we are meant to replace it as before.
Too simple. There will be some additional defense mechanism. Just a moment. There are words carved into the stone. He who would disturb a hero's deserved slumber shall instead waken the beast and know his folly. Wait! Don't!
What? But I only... What is happening? Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, it lives!
Why am I not surprised? Prepare yourselves.
Oh, good. What are you, supposed to be the Sphinx? What, you want to play Triple Triad? You trespass, mortal, upon sacred ground. In retribution for souls I have bound. Yet to heroes proven, learned, and wise, a comrade's soul shall be their prize. If you would theirs set free, answer me these riddles 3. Oh, jeez. Alright. Deft of poor, with kin do I vie, though sought apart, betterment of the whole do our efforts descry. What am I? Well, you sound like... Deft of paw, set apart, betterment of the whole. Curl? Alas, 'twas the Opo-Opo, keen and shrewd its spirits exalt ingenuity, a virtue by which the drunken did prosperity pursue. For this mistake, a single talisman I shall take. Okay. With fearsome fang I travel with pack. Together we find harmony, and thus, for peace our land does not lack. What am I? That sounds like a wolf. That's pretty easy. Indeed, 'twas the spirit of the wolf their doctrines praised, that they would know peace and harmony to the end of their days. The riddle's answer you did discern, and thus to you a soul returns. This I met. On my belly do I crawl, but my strength does prosperity reign within our hole. What am I? Sounds like a serpent. Well, it's clearly not a wolf or an Opo-Opo. Indeed, the dread serpent turned protector, lured to slumber ere it tear the world asunder. The riddle's answer did you discern, and thus to you a soul returns. Can't speak with her. Desire that which I yet claim, then another shall play another. Then we shall play another game. A test of mind and memory. Choose wisely, and you all may yet go free. Twixt these talismans hide friend and foe. Choose your companions well, or sorrow no. Okay. Which one is Y'shtola? We must choose carefully. I would defer to your judgment. Is there perhaps some meaning to all their arrangement? It sure doesn't look like that. They all appear to be the same. No. Alright. We met back. Nothing. Nothing. Oh boy.
No mercy!
Y'shtola. Nothing. Your comrades are assembled together at last. Yet there still remains one trial you must pass. If you would glean the knowledge enshrined in this earth, I would first take the measure of your worth. Well, fine, come and fight us then. One worthy of she who the Ronkans extolled. Must be strong of body, mind, and soul. Finally, this is what I was expecting to find in the ruins. Be careful, sisters. Hold nothing back. Failure of this test does not appear to be an option. Quickly fan out before it strikes. Oh boy. Protect the cat mom. Ah. Foxy! Hurry, we have to save her. Well, that didn't hurt you guys much at all, did it? A pathetic display, one and all. The weak shall not be suffered to disgrace this sacred hall. There's nothing pathetic about what we're doing. We're actually beating your ass.
Let us see how you handle this.
You may think you have won, but we have only just begun.
This and that and this.
Now, poison. Poison? Come, gather round me. Oh boy. Reinforcements, leave them to me. Nice. Oh, one survived. We mustn't waste time with this slime. Focus on the Guardian. Show them your all. It's about to go down. Well fought, hero. The trial is complete. The way is opened, and thus I concede defeat. Well. Not wholly unexpected, but an exhausting ordeal nonetheless. Let's get out of here.
Twould seem the magics have returned us. How polite. Now, what have we learned?
Ah, we were bound to run into a living statue eventually. And now we can open the door.
So we've learned nothing. Apparently we learned nothing. She is cute as fuck, though. Not gonna lie.
He who would disturb a hero's deserved slumber.
Sounds a bit like Elidibus, doesn't it?
A tomb, just as I thought. Befitting a hero.
She is Vis. Could it be the Archmage Tiuna? A legendary hero of Ronka, as you surmised. The tales tell of how she smote entire armies with a single incantation, so potent was her spellcraft. Though she ever fought in the name of peace.
I thought them no more than tales. To think she really existed.
Well, I for one always believed.
I wonder. By the light of fallen stars, great power awakens.
Now why does that sound familiar?
Tiuna was not only a master of spellcraft. It is said she could see truths long lost and hear the voices of men's hearts.
Naught less than the echo. In which case, none of this is mere coincidence. A shower of stars setting the sky aflame. And in both this world and the Source, we find individuals within whom a mysterious power awakened at the sight. We can never unpick the why of it. Now, however, I believe we might. Does the scene depicted here not resemble the one we saw when we first ventured into the Katana Ravel? Moreover, does it not recall that which Emmet Selk invited us to witness in Amarot? The final days. If, as the Exarch's research suggests, soul and mind share a fragile yet profound bond, might it not be possible for an event to leave such a deep imprint upon the soul that it could be perceived eons later, given a suitable trigger? The echo defies explanation by conventional etherological theory, or shall we say modern etherological theory. But if it is a power that once belonged to the ancients, to souls yet undivided, it would seem I have entered the realm of pure speculation, and I call myself a scholar. I shall refrain from making any further wild claims until such time as I have evidence. Still, I cannot choose but be reminded of our experience in Amarot.
And you must recall Emmet Selk's dying request.
Remember us.
History is learned, not lived. We have always protected the tales of Ronka, just as we have protected this place. But we are mindful of what our mothers taught us. We see the past through our own eyes, and speak of it with our own words. Thus do we come to understand it in our own way. but this is not the same as remembering.
Your mothers were wise. Though we witnessed the final days, our impressions cannot fail to be colored by our own experiences and expectations. Those who lived through it would have perceived the event quite differently. We must bear in mind that it is no simple matter to keep the truth alive, or it will die with Emmett Selk and his kin. But we have disturbed Tuna long enough. Fanau will serve similarly well as a venue for our contemplations.
We learned nothing of the Ascians, but the potential link between the Echo and preternatural star showers is intriguing. That it is. Tuna is the reason I took up spellcraft, you know. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine her tomb would be found, let alone that we would be the ones to have the honor to do so. I sorely underestimated the defenses of these ruins. Perhaps Simet was right to urge caution. By your pensive expression, I take it the tomb has given you much to think about. That is well. In time, the knowledge you have gleaned will lead to understanding, and thus arm you for what is to come. Before you leave, however, I would speak again of the teachings of our forebears, of histories learned, not lived. The legend of Tiona and her exploits have been told countless times over the centuries. Yet as it is handed from one generation to the next, the story changes. With each telling of the tale, there are new flourishes, details changed or lost. We can never truly know how she lived, for we were not there to see it. But we are here now to bear witness to your life. We have seen the change you have wrought, the echoes that will endure long after you are gone. And though it too will change in time, I swear to you we shall do our best to preserve your story. I hope you'll forgive me if I don't make an oath of my own, but I think it goes without saying we could never misspeak of your heroism. Perish the thought! So long as we are here, there are none among the Vis who will not know of all you've done for Norvrant. We are not deserving of such reverence, but we are grateful all the same. You can be certain that we will have our own tales to tell of the great guardians of Raktika and the ruins of Runka. I pray you safe travels, then. As ever, we shall await your return with open arms. Lovely. Alrighty, Y'shtola. Although we learned naught of the Ascians, the insight we gained into the Echo made our trip worthwhile. Before we return to the Crystarium, however, there is a small matter I would attend to in Slitherbow. Might I trouble you to come with me? Sure. Thank you. After we arrive, we should have a brief word with Runar. Well, alright, we'll head to Slitherbow. But we'll have to do that in the next episode. We are just about out of time here, and I do want to make sure these videos don't go on too long. So, some new revelations. Ardbert is, well, kind of alive, in a way, and some new things to think about regarding the nature of the Echo and its relation to the final days of Amarat. We'll see how this turns out in the next one. Take care until then, everyone. Bye.
Bye.